Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and yes, we're going to be getting into the aftermath of jumping the Raptor. And if you haven't seen that, obviously go watch the video of me jumping the Raptor. I'll include a link to that video in the description below, but here's a quick sneak peek to me jumping the Raptor. But what we're going to do in today's video is obviously, like I said, go over the Raptor, but before that, I need to go over a couple quick updates, like 1 or 2 updates, and then after that, we'll get straight to the Raptor. So let's get into the updates, and then we'll go into the Raptor. So in terms of quick updates that I wanted to go over, I kind of have teased that there is another car coming to the channel. So back in June earlier this year, I put a deposit on a car that's brand new for 2020. I'm not gonna say what it is, but you guys can probably figure that out pretty easily. But I put a deposit in for a car that's brand new for 2020, and obviously there's been delays with that car, but then on top of that, I'm also like 20th in place, and so I'm not even sure if I'm gonna get an allocation or not. So there's something there. Hopefully I get it. We'll basically see what happens with that. The other quick update that I wanted to go over is I do have some modifications that are coming for the Raptor. So one of the modifications should already be in the P.O. box, so I just have to get there. Every single time I've gone there, the line has been completely full. I haven't been able to get into the post office essentially. And then the rest of the wrap on the Raptor is going to be finished. And then obviously I do also have to do the bed liner, which is kind of sad that I haven't, but it's just been a time thing and it's kind of frustrating. So more modifications are coming for the Raptor. So those are kind of my main updates. Is another car is coming to the channel once I'm able to either put an order in for it. Yeah, we'll kind of see what happens with that. And then yes, more modifications are coming to the Raptor, but let's get into the aftermath now. The first thing that kind of happened after jumping my Raptor, and this is pretty obvious, is the truck's super dirty. So keep this in mind. I literally have completely sprayed down this entire truck. I didn't do a great job, but I completely sprayed down the whole truck, so it's a lot cleaner than it was after I jumped it. But I mean, you can see, especially up in the suspension here and all that, like just the control arms, everything is just, all of it is just completely caked in mud underneath. Let me see if I can kind of show you guys all the way under there. I mean, it is just super dirty. Obviously there's some stuff on the exterior, like the headlights here. You can see like a couple things on the hood, front grille, all that kind of stuff. This little thing here that I chipped the wrap, kind of got worse, so that was sad. It's a casualty of jumping the Raptor. But yeah, I mean, huge thing, super dirty. The thing that I did notice that happened a lot is because there's mud, obviously a ton of stuff got into the wheel wells of the truck. You can see there's still a bunch caked up there that I tried to get but wasn't able to get all of it. The rims as well, a bunch of stuff like gets holed up in there. And the side steps, these things are such a pain to get clean. I mean, there's just tons of mud that'll get in these divots. I mean, you can still see that there's a ton of mud caked on right there that I haven't been able to get off. The mirrors, it'll kind of cake on just under at the bottom of the mirror. The sides, those are pretty easy. The roof as well, we'll get a ton of stuff. On the back here, it wasn't too bad. Now, this was bad. So obviously in the suspension, wheels, just like in the front, up in here also, again, you can see all of the stuff that is caked in there. But what I did notice is the truck was making horrible creaking sounds the day after I jumped it, and I thought that I messed up something with the truck. And if you guys do get this, it's typically not because you messed up something with the truck. That can be a factor, but what happens is if you get a ton of mud and obviously just up in the whole suspension area, anything in the back here, if it freezes overnight, like what happened to me, the mud and all that froze overnight, and so the truck wasn't able to properly just basically drive, so it was creaking all over the place. But then once I cleaned out a bunch of the stuff in the back here, the creaking essentially stopped. And then the other thing is obviously the back, these exhaust tips, they just I mean, look at it, they just like having mud all over them. So that is the first thing, is just how dirty the truck actually is after jumping it. The second thing that actually happens is a factor of washing the truck, and this is why I recommend you either wrap your Raptor or do something like paint protection film so you protect the paint. You are going to have a ton of mud and rocks and all that kind of stuff obviously hit against the truck when you're off-roading, so you want the paint to be protected. So just something to protect the paint, but also know that when you wash the truck, you have a chance of basically doing further damage. And I can show you this. Obviously, there's nothing really on the wrap. The wrap's held up super, super well in terms of like scratches and all that. It's done really well, but I did have a casualty of watching it. So right here on the back, you can still kind of see the outline. There's little stickers back, and this is something really silly, but there's little stickers back here telling you that the truck has blind spot monitoring, because that's a sensor for it. And when I used the pressure washer and went over the lights, because the lights were caked in mud, the sticker just freaking flew right off. But you can imagine, you know, on the same token, that if you're washing the truck and you don't have mud, rocks, debris, anything like that, you spray it. And especially if you don't go through a car wash, by the way, but if you went through a car wash, I mean, the bristles grab the rocks, scrape them all over your paint. So that is something to take note when you are washing it. Be very careful and conscientious of what you're doing so that you don't scrape the paint on your $70,000 truck. Third thing that kind of happened has to do with the alignment on the truck. Now, I'm not 100% sure if it's off completely, but I guess I'll just show you guys. So we'll pop into the truck. It's probably not going to show on camera very well, but nonetheless, we will still try. So after jumping the truck, what I kind of noticed is, and like I said, I'm probably not going to be able to show this, but what I kind of noticed is the truck is, even when I have the steering wheel straight, is slightly pulling to the right. So like when I've been driving down the highway, I've been kind of, it's like just like that much. I keep having to do that just to keep the truck going straight. I just don't think it's going to show on camera because it's so slight. But yeah, the truck, you know, the alignment, you have potential for that to go off. Depending on how much it is, obviously you have to get an alignment afterwards. If it's not much like what I have, and I'm not even sure if it's misaligned or not, then you really don't have to do anything until your next servicing. The fourth thing that has happened post jumping is obviously abysmal fuel economy and going through an entire tank of gas. So we're gonna pop in the truck again. So I'm gonna spare me walking into the truck. So just wait. It works for that one other guy that does YouTube videos in Utah. So just give me a second. Here's the moment of truth. Fuel economy. 12.5 miles per gallon. So before I jumped the truck, my fuel economy wasn't that much better. It was roughly around 12.8 to 13 miles per gallon, just depended on, you know, the kind of driving I was doing and all that. The thing I do have to say though is any type of off-roading that you do, you will go through the fuel so quickly. So definitely fill up. And I know that this seems like a no-brainer, but it's something that I didn't realize like how much fuel I was going to use up jumping the Raptor, but it's because you're constantly flooring it, all that kind of stuff. I had a full tank before I went and jumped the Raptor on Tuesday this week, and after everything was said and done, I only had about 60 miles of range left on the Raptor, which is pretty much an empty tank. And that was after I was probably out driving and jumping for, I'd say roughly 3 hours, maybe 4 hours. So, I mean, yeah, you go through fuel just crazy quick. So take that into account, and obviously make sure that before you got into wilderness, fill up with gas so you don't get stranded, because that would be sad. Now, the fifth and final thing that I kind of discovered after jumping the Raptor is just how good the Raptor is at handling that kind of stuff. Obviously, the truck from the factory is meant to do that kind of stuff, but the fact that I jumped the truck in total, I think about 15 times at least, not yesterday, obviously on Tuesday, and I mean, it's held up super well. Like, the truck isn't broken at all. I have no check engine lights. You know, the truck isn't freaking leaning way one side to the other, anything like that. Like, it's held up so well, and I'm super impressed. And I know that I complained about the interior earlier on my video about the 5 things that I hate about my Raptor, but I mean, you can see the floor mats, obviously, you know, the rubber floor mats doing really well. The seats, you know, they've done really well. The back seats are probably a better indicator. I still have kind of left these ones dirty. The front seats were like, look at the seats, just how much dirt there is on them. And I cleaned off the front seats, and it was super easy to clean off these seats. So even though this isn't the softest material, really easy to clean off when you do off-roading. And then the same thing with this, like, this stuff isn't the softest, but cleaning it off is super easy. So just the whole truck in general, just from like an interior standpoint, and then obviously with the suspension, the powertrain, all that kind of stuff, held up super well under the high stress that I put it over. You know, I went to the top speed of the Raptor. I jumped it like 15 times at least. I was just hauling down roads on the off-road, just constantly pushing the truck, getting up to red line, all that kind of stuff, just pushing the truck for 4 hours straight. And the fact that it's still just handling like a champ, and you know, other than the fact that the steering wheel feels a little bit off, like just a tiny bit, other than that little thing, I mean, the truck's just doing fantastic. So if you have a Ford Raptor, you have to jump it, and if you aren't gonna jump it, then don't buy a Ford Raptor. Deal? Deal. That is gonna sum things up for today's video. Originally, it was just like the aftermath of jumping my Raptor, but then it turned into the 5 things that happened after I jumped my Raptor, so it wasn't on purpose, but that just kind of happened. And this is really sad, by the way, guys. It is 3 o'clock, and the sun is right down over there. The sun's already going down, and it's only like 3 o'clock. It makes me sad, and it makes filming a lot harder, and I just want it to be summer. Well, not summer, springtime and fall time. I want it to be spring or fall, just like permanently. But anyways, if you're stopping for the first time, please subscribe, comment down below what you think. I'll see all of you in that next video.